Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to today's discussion around the idea of year of efficiency. Earlier this year, Zuckerberg and Meta coined that phrase to basically make themselves a better technology company and to improve on their financial performance for this year. From there, Wall Street analysts began kind of looking for savings and pricing it into the large cap tech industry. But today, what we want to kind of do is talk about what our interpretation of what that term means and how we really believe it's applicable for the middle market as well as for the large cap. With me today is Chase Wright. He's the leader of accounting advisory for Cherry Beckard, where some of the largest touch points that we have is with technology companies due to their growth and unique accounting needs. Today, I'm your host, Graham Michitsch. I'm a senior manager within Chase's group, and I've have a lot of experience helping clients in the middle market, especially the controllers and CFOs of these middle market companies, really try to wrap their hands around what this really means. So Chase, thanks for being with us today. Do you want to kind of help us jump into this discussion and kind of speak on what this year of efficiency means when you hear it?
Yeah, there's an interesting question here that I know we've asked ourselves and we've asked our clients, are the efficiencies that Meta and other large cat tech companies looking to achieve really relevant to the emerging and middle market tech companies? And collectively, we believe that answer is yes, there is. So many of our clients are the product of entrepreneurs and things that they have done to really disrupt an industry with technology and really doing cool and interesting and neat things. And we just love working with those entrepreneurs. But accounting is a bit bootstrapped, to use a term, Graham, I've heard you use. You work with these companies so much. I'll borrow your term. They're bootstrapped, right? They're put together to scale with the business, and a lot of times that involves a lot of manual processes and Excel documents or Google Sheets and just doing what you can to get by. But what we find is companies wake up one day with the real need for their technology or for their services, tech enabled services, whatever they may be, but they all of a sudden have investors or opportunities to even go public, and there is a need for that accounting organization to mature. So, while market activity has slowed a bit in the middle market, we do see private equity transactions, but fewer of them. Definitely no SPAC activity lately. It can be a year of efficiency for these tech companies to, focus on making some improvements to help really manage that process a little more rationally, rather than crisis mode where imminent transaction or imminent interest in company need to clean up accounting. So that's something that we've had some good experience with. And Graham, you're doing that work day to day, working with some tech companies to make those efficiencies. So yeah, I do think that what Meta has coined is applicable to the middle market. Graham, I'll actually have you dive in. Whenever you're doing the actual work around this, these efficiencies, what are you really hearing from the company? Well, I know you do good discovery with the company, and then you really enable those entrepreneurs to talk about what they're looking for, and then turn it into actionable items. What are some of the themes that you're seeing that they're looking for and that we work with them on?
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to pick up on one thing that you did say, right, where the current state of kind of middle market accounting shops are living and breathing. Usually, I'll go back to the term. They have been bootstrapped, right? They are a very lean team. Maybe there's a lot of heavy involvement from the CEO. Basically, just trying to follow the path of least resistance, right? Keeping the lights on, people paid, customers happy. And they haven't really had the capacity or time to be strategic or be able to kind of get out of the month-end
Yep.
close to month-end close type of scenario. So what I usually without any type of nuanced additional criteria, but we'd like to kind of understand where the company is currently operating, right? So when we're talking about process improvements, technology improvements, even personnel and org structure improvements, we want to know where they are today, right? That way, what we can kind of do is try to put in the pieces and connect the dots of identifying where their potential, gaps or areas or targeted areas of potential improvements are. So one of the ways that we kind of like to understand and look at where there's any potential areas of improvements is to kind of see where their current state is, right? So maybe a good first step is if there's any type of identified issues that were happening within the back office. Let's say, depending on the different business cycles of the accounting shop, maybe there was a payroll or a
Yeah.
procurement or a vendor payment that actually was duplicated or was an incorrect amount. Well, that's a great first step to kind of look at, all right, well, what's the underlying process that led, or the control environment that kind of led to that issue being operationalized, right? So one little piece of insight can definitely draw and target our discovery questions, depending, and it may be able to even show a larger issue or potential issue that's going on. So I think the way that we approach this is just kind of understanding where they currently are as it relates to the complexity and maturities of their business cycles, the underlying processes, the technology and the tools that they're using, and then the people that are actually executing this as well. So in order to even
Yeah.
understand how to gain efficiencies, we need that starting point, hands down.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's right, Graham. I like that. I mean, generally speaking, you talked about meeting the company where they are. The other thing that we've seen recently, and I say recently over the last 3 or 4 months, is perhaps even that talent gap in accounting is becoming even more apparent at our clients. A lot of these tech companies too just have a couple of people in accounting that are key. There is a lot of turnover in accounting. There is high demand for qualified accountants and a lot of people that are on the move post-COVID, and a lot of fewer accountants coming out of the universities and taking the CPA exam too. So that has not been necessarily a good trend, and one that we have helped our clients through. But you're right; those types of issues really are the right place to start. I think ultimately the reporting that is required by these tech companies to a private equity firm, or if they go public, it cannot be understated that those efforts are significant. And really, while the entrepreneur has bootstrapped a lot of things, what we find is that really the company can, in a transaction, can really understate their value if they just have some uncertainties around accounting, which aren't a big deal, but just take time. Really, time is of the essence with those transactions, and anything that takes time really kind of creates a question for those investors. And the IPO markets, you want to time the market perfectly. So when the time is right, you need to have those buttoned up. And if you can rationally approach it with this year of efficiency, it certainly makes sense. And Graham, your approach about meeting a company where they are is spot on. Not every no tech company, I would say, there are some commonalities, but no one's the same. Everyone has their own strengths and areas that they need to focus. So I think you're spot on there.
I couldn't agree with you more on kind of managing that labor shortage challenge, right? Regardless of what a company is intending to do, they're going to need, technology savvy, upskilled type of personnel kind of handling that back office to kind of double down on your point around executing and producing timely and accurate information, including financial reports. The way that we kind of like to evaluate and understand where a company is kind of looking at the three legs of the stool: the people, processes, and the tools that they're using. I would have to say there's a general theme that's happening right now with or more or less macro trends that are looking to kind of take place that are kind of branded under this year of efficiency. Um, One of them is the adoption of new technology, right? We're seeing all this disruption happening in terms of AI, automation, and accountants aren't immune. There we have better tools for managing month-end close, high volume cash applications, AP processing. So the companies that are willing and looking to invest in kind of upgrading their tools is a great first step. But I would also kind of push back and offer the reciprocating process or underlying process is as important as dropping any type of new technology in the back office, only because you're going to need to manage kind of the data, the on ramps, the off ramps, the accuracy, the internal controls, all the above, in addition to just using, again, additional functionalities or new user interfaces or new, again, automated efficiency gains, right? So not only are we kind of understanding what the tools these companies are using, but more importantly, or as importantly, is kind of that underlying process to
Hmm.
deliver those tools.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many calls I've been on. I was on a few this week where, a tech company has really upscaled their solution, their general ledger to NetSuite or to Sage Intacct or to some of the common products that serve technology. And by the way, really provide value. But what I would say is that so many implementations are challenged because of the other two legs of the. You said it. You called it the two legs of the stool: the people and the process. And you might even analogize that to the company's technology. If a customer doesn't have their shop in order, does the company's technology have a chance to be successful? It's certainly true for accounting. Without process, if you don't have repetition or if you don't have maturity with what you want to accomplish and what you're doing to accomplish that, you're not going to have a lot of bang for the buck, if you will, with that technology. And if you don't have people that are open-minded and competent and ready to embrace that technology, you're not going to see the benefits. There are certain companies that we come and do work for 2 years later to really recapture the benefits of a Sage or a NetSuite. And I use those two ERPs in particular for technology. There are others, but that is so common, and I like what you were saying there. It is so critical. I guess, Graham, how do you help these entrepreneurs? They get it, but yeah, accounting is not their favorite thing in the world. I know it's yours, but it's not theirs necessarily. You might talk about how you help them get started thinking about this, and really, because you do such a good job. I've seen you firsthand. What are some of the ways that you can identify these, and you might even talk about how much time does it take, because time is money, and you may
Hmm.
also talk about the cost that it really might incur.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a little selfish and biased. I do think the accounting and finance back office is the central nervous system and most important, or can be most important part of a company. Um, but going back to what I think I opened and said, right? If there is any identifying trigger event or known issue that a company's experienced, great first step and great first targeted area to kind of look at. However, to your point about not everyone can dive headfirst into the details of the accounting shop, it's a little ambiguous. Maybe it's hard to triangulate exactly what's going on. But there's comments and feedback that kind of bubble up saying, well, hey, the month end close is just taking too long, or
Yeah.
hey, why can't why can't we get, financials out, in a week or two from the calendar year close? And one forum or one type of vehicle that I've seen help is what we like to kind of call this accounting workshop, meaning it's a facilitated half a day, a couple hour session. But what I kind of do is I get a great representation of not only just the accounting department, but the company in general. So maybe there's a representative from IT or operations, and maybe the CEO is sitting in listening as well into the
Yeah.
discussion. But we basically try and facilitate a cathartic session about what's going great, what maybe potentially is a little bit of challenging, and hey, from the people that are in the trenches, we know what could basically be improved or what's not working or what's taking up a lot of your time, right? And that kind of goes back to that time is money. We're also kind of evaluating the personnel and the org structure, the design and engineering of how the process looks like once we kind of get a targeted area of what's working well, what's not working so well with the company. So one of the main outputs that we kind of get from that facilitated session is a great slew of information. But what we kind of like to do is then kind of thematically group into what we heard. Maybe there's 20 or 30 things on vendor payments or financial reporting. A lot of it, I will say, kind of goes back and touches the month-end close as well, just because that is such a important and vital process for understanding accuracy, making sure that you have the total amount of transactions that occurred within the reporting period, and then you're facilitating and delivering on your financial performance via your reports. So we have a great output of targeted areas, but then we kind of work with the company's management CEO about prioritizing those. It's a very collaborative effort that we work with leadership to, again, balance the staff's capacity, their budget, potentially timeline, and then also trying to integrate and align any future strategy or vision that the company is having. Maybe they're trying to do new offerings and produce new products for their customers. Maybe they want to do a public offering in one shape or form in the coming years. So we kind of have to holistically package what's happening today with an appreciation for what needs to happen tomorrow, so that we can deliver and basically hand back a prioritized roadmap that a company can go and execute a solution against for, hey, maybe a number of years, right? Just because of the different timelines and trajectories and importance that leadership is seeing and how they want to kind of implement. I know you mentioned or asked a little bit about cost, and that session in and of itself, I wouldn't say is a tremendous from a fee perspective. Maybe $10,000 to $15,000 to $20,000 depending on the complexities. But one of the best parts that we've kind of seen companies kind of take advantage of is rolling that fee from the workshop into any solution phase. So you could get $10,000 to $20,000 credit from our work physically helping you implement and deliver that customized solution.
Yeah. And the C-suite in these tech companies, they need information. They need to know ARR, right, and trends with their annual recurring revenue, and may need it disaggregated by product. Tech companies have to pivot so frequently to really meet the needs of their customer. They may need to understand, what is that doing to their metrics? So many of these companies trade based on revenue and revenue trends, and be it in the public markets or the private markets. And so they need that information. So, I think I like your approach that you've used. And I think that, investing a half a day to drive meaningful change is something that we see a real appetite for. It is so critical that while it is a painful 4 hours or half a day, whatever that may take, it's definitely worthwhile for the future. Um, I think that uh, it's been particularly helpful, and a lot of times I know you have the C-suite in the meetings, and they're a little bit of a fly on the wall, and they're able to see, and they meet with you in advance and talk to you about their objectives, and you're thinking about how to align them, but they're also uh, uh, gaining information from those sessions. So that is something that has been uh, a keen observation I've had.
And yeah, no, to that point, right? I kind of glossed over the fact that this is a very tailored session too. So to your point about, hey, maybe there needs to be specific areas that we need to
Yeah,
drive and focus on. We can align with management prior to that. Usually we have, a couple opening or kickoff calls with just kind of the executive sponsorship, committee or
yeah,
partner that likes to kind of has asked to bring us in. But I will say on paper too, it may sound like a pretty tedious and um, to use your words, a painful session, but I will say this is really once kind of it's been done, and I've gotten some great feedback from staff and senior accountants that are finally saying, thank you for helping and being that vehicle or that larger voice to help communicate some of my
yeah,
challenges that been living and breathing with every day. And then to your point about having some C-suites potentially in the room, they're getting real pertinent and valuable information that may be contradictory from what they assumed and thought was going on with the company and the accounting shop. So not only from the staff that are executing and delivering the
yeah.
work, but all the way up to top leadership. It is a really a profound some takeaways that we
Yeah.
kind of can glean from the session.
Yeah, and really, how can you really drive efficiencies without getting into that granular detail? If you read about some of these tech companies that have done this effectively, it appears that they have gotten fairly granular and just really spent day and night focusing on these things. So it makes sense that that there is value that's apparent quickly, uh, no matter the process to get there, if you will.
You're gonna have to roll up your sleeves and
Yeah,
get into it. It just is a matter of, is the current team have the capacity to do so? So most likely, usually not. And also, do they have kind of the overarching kind of understanding of what potentially could a process optimization look like, right? Basically, from our experience and working with some of our tech clients, we're seeing kind of those leading practices being implemented today. And what we can do is bring some of those leading examples or lessons learned across the industry. So we kind of have a holistic knowledge share off of what could work well or what maybe
yeah,
not working so well, right? So I definitely would encourage companies and folks to leverage our knowledge base and what we're kind of seeing with some of our other client environments as well.
yeah. And as the accounting advisory leader, we we like to be there for these clients. Graham, you may even talk about ways that we've stepped up to assist a client in a at a time of a personnel transition who just maybe they weren't grasping the change that was needed, or perhaps we identified some complexities with account or with revenue recognition, which is so critical in the industry, or capitalized cost, and the way that we've identified some R&D credits. You may talk about what some of the things this has really led to, and our approach to really enabling that tech company on their journey.
Sure. Yeah. No. And that's a great point because this is only the starting point, right? This is kind of the jump off spot where these tentacles and these potential reaches can vary depending on exactly what the
Yep.
need and the specific business driver is. So to your point, if there is a company that is experiencing personnel turnover, some of our staff aug solutions where we're just kind of in that seat with you executing,
Yeah.
is a great perspective as well to kind of continue that discovery mindset.
Yeah.
And to see, all right, maybe there's some delayering or some
Yeah.
workflow management that needs to happen. To your point again as well, this could drift into some incentive tax credits analysis if maybe you're doing some internal software development. Or I have one client that basically put together an entire operational dashboard in-house, just because they didn't have the ERP functionality to do so. So it can very much, bleed into a variety or a litany of different areas, just again, depending on that specific need. And also what you're kind of going through. If you're doing transactions or adopting all these moving target regulatory changes, or simply just looking to kind of mature or optimize your existing platforms, right? So it's very much unique and specific to that company's business environment.
Sure. No, great discussion. I guess we're halfway through 2023, or almost halfway through. The future certainly looks bright for these companies as the market maybe stabilizes, and there is such value in these technologies. We see technology companies really providing or disrupting healthcare, disrupting industrial, just really making a difference in all industries. We're even starting to look at how AI may affect our business, be it accounting advisory, and it's exciting, and really keeps us interested in any of our clients' business, because it's so meaningful to our economy. So we just love the industry, and I think this service that you provide, Graham, provides a lot of value.
And I couldn't agree. I'm extremely excited and extremely encouraged about where this is all going. And in our experience, it's kind of never too early or even too late, in kind of your optimization, transformation, efficiency gain journey to kind of have those discussions. So I'd be more than happy to kind of, if anyone wants to kind of reach out and we can help evaluate, where your company or your potential organization's future through accounting optimization or gaining any efficiencies this year, I would be more than happy to do so.
Yeah, and congrats to the entrepreneurs that are making such a big difference out there, and we need more of it. So keep it coming.
Sounds good. Well, appreciate appreciate the discussion today, Chase, and looking forward to seeing where this all goes for the next cut.
Great. Thanks for your time. Have a good one.
You too.